I see the press must have got caught in traffic.
I must have started a little early.
We just couldn't wait any longer for you.
And just for the public's information, we are short a couple of board members this morning. We're having the EOC, Emergency Operations Center, drill today regarding the nuclear power plant, and 2 of our commissioners serve on that committee. So, and I believe Commissioner Vetch is down in the city and Commissioner Hewsome in the Emergency Operations Center here. So I think we have to agree on everything then, don't we?
Yes, you do.
Yep. So you can say no to anything and squelch it today, Mark. So, all right. With that, the minutes from July 18th. Has anyone had a chance to look at them? Everyone?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner DeLyden, second by Commissioner Potter. Any further discussion? Apparently not. Lee, you didn't have anything? Okay.
No, sir.
All right, so all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimous. The agenda for today. Adam.
Good
Adam
morning.
Tagaro, our IT person. What's up, Adam?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I would just like to petition on the consent agenda an item for the July 26th Personnel Committee to discuss the BA position in IT.
And
Item F, Mr. Chair.
no, Susan, did you clear this with her already, or?
This is
Negative.
He cleared it with her boss.
Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So we'll put that on.
It appears there's no other amendments to the agenda. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the one item under consent agenda.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Potter.
Where's that cricket sound you always?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner DeLyden. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The consent agenda for today. I did want to mention item number A. It says refer the Marysville Township Hall repairs to the building committee, and it's technically not the Marysville Township Hall. It's a county property that the county now owns, but it's the old Marysville Township Hall. And I just wanted to make that little caveat, so in case somebody calls up and say, why are we repairing Marysville and not
I had that same question.
somebody
so
else?
Thank you.
Okay, so
Why? How long has the county owned it?
I don't know that.
Several years, I know we acquired it as part of a road project out there, is my understanding.
And it's right next to, or even on the same property as the Humphrey Aarons County Park.
It's right with
So
it.
that's, you know,
Oh, so their new building is not anywhere near that?
it's, well, not anywhere near, but it's maybe within a mile.
Oh.
It's to the south.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner DeLyden, second by Commissioner Potter. Further discussion, seeing none, all in favor? Oh, go
I
ahead.
do have one thing. I would like to get that corrected, though. On the,
You know what, just
stating
put county property, put in parentheses,
yeah.
and maybe put old Marysville Township.
That would probably be even better, too. It's just because it is quite confusing.
I'm okay with that. Mike, you okay with that?
Yes,
too?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want somebody thinking we're,
No, I was really,
but Marysville was very good to me in the last election. so.
anyway, thank you for clarifying it. And you should have had that on there at the beginning, so I don't know why you didn't.
Okay, I'm working on it. Okay. I'm only halfway through this term, as, you know. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Now we're down to timed agenda. We have Mr. Robert Hevel, our auditor treasurer. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, good morning, Board. This is about the time that we release the final state demographer numbers. The state demographer works with the municipality. They send out estimates to each of our cities and townships, and they allow questions and answers to go on. So that time to work on those numbers has passed, so we are now releasing to you the final state demographer numbers for 2016, and Wright County's population went up by a little over 1,200 from 2015 to 16. But in your packets would be the population by municipality.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Lane.
Did we have any city or township that questioned them at all?
Unless they contact us directly, we're not aware of it.
Oh, okay.
But does it have the 2000, like a 14 to a, or a 15 to a 16 population? I don't see that on here.
Mr. Chair, I do have that upstairs. I didn't bring that down.
Okay.
I have tracked it each year, so.
Okay.
You want, Mr. Chair, do you want Bob to email that to us?
Yeah, email it. Would love that.
I'll be glad to email it to you.
Would you text them though after you email it to him?
I'll text them, I just
I'll text
emailed
him,
it.
yes, okay.
Thank you.
Lee, I'll send it to you as well. It's not really part of the board packet, but
And maybe Ed would like, you know, or the press, whatever. Be nice to see last
Like
year's
that?
to this year's.
well then, board, what I'll do is I'll have Jackie append it to the agenda. Is that okay? Even though I'm not presenting it here, would you still like it? Then it's available on the board packets.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Does that need action, Bob, or is that just information?
Informational. Just wanting to let you know the county's still growing.
Okay.
I see the census 2020, there's a little brochure on it too, is starting now.
There is. Matter of fact, yesterday I had several of my staff attend the webinar. I know that they've already reached out to Lee. Lee's had conversations, and Charlie, and the surveyor. We're going to be requested to provide them with information, which we have. So the ball has started for 2020 census.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Bob. Mr. Greg Kreiser, Wright County Assistant Attorney.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I'm coming before you today to ask that you act in your capacity as the ditch authority under two different ditches. The first one is County Ditch 10, and this is to request that you adopt a resolution to approve findings and order directing proceedings to reestablish and correct drainage system records for County Ditch 10. Just some background on this. County Ditch 10, we're undertaking a comprehensive multi-purpose water management plan with ISG right now, and they've done the preliminary survey work, they've studied the system, they've looked at our records, and they have determined we do not have a final as-built plan on record for this drainage system. So as part of that, we're requesting that we adopt the resolution to reestablish those final as-built grade plans. The estimate is attached to the board packet. It came to $15,500. And really what this covers is the soil borings that they have to do every 500 feet along this entire system, and then drafting the final plan and attending the public hearing that we'll have after their proposal is submitted and finalized. So the majority of the survey work has already been completed on County Ditch 10.
Did we, after our meeting last week, there were some people that said they may have info. Did anybody get it to us at all?
Haven't received anything.
Do you remember the person's name, Charlie?
Well, he more or less just had anecdotal information, I don't think. I don't think he had actual records. Did he say he had papers?
Well, he had photographs and I thought he said he had some additional
Well, I mean, and it wouldn't
information,
be too late to have some of that.
Well, I don't, I mean, the way it sounded, he didn't have the as-bills, which have all disappeared for so many of our ditches, unfortunately.
Greg, the one thing that I had a concern over though is where the ending of the ditch, it had to end in Lake Ann, but now for some reason, the DNR has kind of claimed property there, and this might clarify that then a little.
Might. Yep.
Because it would be near ridiculous to have the ditch not go to Lake Ann.
Well, the ditch has to go to Lake Ann.
Yeah.
It does. I think the issue more deals with the ordinary high water mark and where that is on Lake Ann.
Okay,
Than where the ditch ends. The ditch extends to Lake Ann.
okay,
We know that.
Mr. Chair?
yes.
I think it's fair to tell the public that maybe still kind of naive or ignorant on what ditches are. This is one of the county's responsibilities that we are obligated to deal with.
Yes.
And these are all that, it's not just Commissioner Burrell's campaign promise. This is something we are supposed to be doing, and it's our duty to make sure those records are there and accurate.
That's correct.
And when we say county ditches, we're not referring to the ditches along the highways.
No.
The county highways. We're
Thank
referring
you for
to
that.
more of a rural stormwater system.
That's correct.
Is what it amounts to.
And they're not owned by the county, they're managed by the county, and they're actually owned by the benefited landowners.
And Mr. Chair, members of the board, I would note that it's not just County Ditch 10. We have almost 40 to 43 ditches that you manage in your statutory capacity across Wright County. Some of those are joint with others, some we manage them independently. So, yeah.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for findings and orders of directing proceedings to reestablish and correct drainage system record for Wright County Ditch number 10.
I'll second that.
motion by Commissioner Lyons, second by Commissioner Potter. Mark, do you want us, that's a resolution, so,
Yes.
Aye.
aye. And I guess that's good enough for today?
That's good enough for today. Just need 3.
All right.
Chair, my second item is in your capacity as the drainage authority for County Ditch 18. Hang on.
Bless you.
You're good, Greg.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to bring this up. On County Ditch 18, we're currently undertaking a process to reestablish the drainage records. I don't know if that's, it's not going to look the best. Try. It in color here when I printed it, but I believe it's in color on the board packet, if anyone wants to look at it in color. But, so we're currently undertaking the process to reestablish drainage records on County Ditch 18, kind of like what we just did on County Ditch 10. And what the engineering firm, Houston Engineering, noticed is they felt as they were going out there doing their survey work that it looked like our benefited property rolls records were off. The benefited properties were not accurate. So what Houston Engineering did is they, using topography and a computer-based imaging, they came up with kind of a rough estimate. I mean, it's not a final benefited property rolls by any means, but it's using available topography, LiDAR data that we have to determine kind of where the benefited properties may be for this drainage system, kind of what the rough estimated watershed would be. And as you can see, looking at this, it's about, I would say we're probably missing about half the estimated watershed for County Ditch 18. So with that information in hand, staff is recommending that we redetermine the benefits for County Ditch 18.
So this will actually add people to the benefited rolls?
Probably would double the amount of acreage, yes.
But without doing you can do that without?
No, we still have to have it.
We still have to finish the records.
So,
This is a 2-year process. We just want to get it onto the list
Okay.
for the viewers and get it moving.
So this is the order to hire a firm to do the viewers, to do the
viewing. Yep.
determination?
This is, right now we're undertaking the process to redetermine the records or reestablish the records. This is to redetermine the benefits.
Got it.
Off of those final records.
Okay.
Where's ditch 18 again?
18 is in French Lake Township. It flows to the north.
35 is by that bridge that we replaced a couple years back, maybe 3-4 years ago. That the one on the river?
Is that big bridge?
That one
right there?
bridge,
Okay.
I believe that's the same one right there.
It actually crosses right over County Road 35 that goes east and west out there.
I believe it terminates just prior to the Crow River. Don't quote me on that, Ed.
And it looks like it's a drainage for Mud Lake, whatever there too.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So,
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adopt the findings of fact in regard to and order the redetermination for ditch 18.
okay, motion by Commissioner Potter,
Oh, I guess I'll second it.
second by Commissioner
Twisted your
Colada.
arm today.
All right, Mike, you want to start that one?
Aye.
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 Okay. Resolution passes, carries.
And Mr. Chair,
3-0.
it's my anticipation that next week on the agenda, I will bring forth a resolution to reestablish the benefited property rules for County Ditch 10. We have some right-of-ways out there that we need to acquire, I think, some buffers, and so I think I'll try to get that on the agenda for next week.
Yeah.
All right?
So is the list of ditches getting shorter now that we've got this done with?
Every time I think it is, another 5 get added to it.
Yeah, it's just too bad that we can't find some of those old records. It would save those taxpayers, you know, the benefiting taxpayers so much money.
Yep. Unfortunately, in 1950, 1960, it wasn't as important as it is today. So,
Well, it was important, just,
but it didn't
it
have
was,
the same legal significance it does today.
yeah, the rules were.
And what we
different.
think happened is, it was a lot of times the ditch committees were in charge of kind of doing the maintenance and whatever, so the county probably gave the committee those records, and those were people made up of.
Lived in that area.
Made up of that, people that lived in that area. The records that ended up somewhere in one of their houses or whatever, and the sad thing about it is there's probably some of them still out there that they don't know what they are, you know, so.
And Wright County is not alone in this. There are 87 counties going through the same process.
And then times 50 states, I'm sure they're all in the same boat.
So we are not alone in this. I mean, when you have records trying to go back to 1906 and they weren't recorded, this is what happens.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, how many ditches do we have as-built for?
I don't know. That'll be the first job for our ditch coordinator when they start January 1.
Preliminary plans for.
Yeah.
Because it would be good for us to know and the public to know how many ditches we have, how many we have as-built for, and what we're currently working on,
Yep.
you know. Because
And it would be nice to find a vault somewhere where we have them all over here at the county, but we've searched and searched, you know.
You're not here?
Don't have them.
Okay, sounds good, thank you, Greg. Items for consideration, the building committee, Commissioner Potter, you volunteered to do the building committee minutes?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The building committee met July 12th. Members present were Potter, Burrell, Wilczek, Kelly. Others present, Job, Hoffman, Derringer, Hatfield, and James Walden from the FBI. The first item we talked about is the Health and Human Service retaining wall. And I've informed the board and Mr. Kelly that a couple years back I had Steve Job measure the wall because I thought it was moving, and they've been tracking it for a while, and it has been moving a little bit, but nothing significant. But over this last winter, between the rains and everything else, it's moved significantly to the point where we need to do something about it. We can't just track it anymore. We actually have to figure out a proposed repair. And we anticipate a replacement would be needed because I think it's beyond the point of fixing. We reached out to Wenken Associates Engineering, anticipated would services for proposal for design new structure, and a cost of about $10,000 for construction of that, and for $1,200 for contractor oversight. And Commissioner Burrell did question the use of engineering for the service, but the last one I don't believe was properly engineered. I think it was just put up because I think the age of it was prior to Buffalo adopting codes for those kind of apparatuses. I mean, we need to do something because it's to the point where imminent failure is not that far away. Basically, getting down to it is we're looking whether the large concrete block format. We're going to go a couple different options looking at that, and that's where Alan Wilczek comes in handy for that. The recommendation is to enter an agreement with Wenken Associates for the design, but Wilczek will perform the bidding and construction oversight. I think that's their checks and balances to make sure we're getting what we're looking for and stay within a somewhat reasonable budget there. The second item is the survey shop overhead door. When we were remodeling the Public Works building, we had a list of things we wanted to do, and the ones that were most important were achieved already, and the other ones were on that list of if there's still money left over, then we can start picking off some of these other ones. This is another one that was left off at the beginning because of it was like a $1,200 price tag, so we'll wait on to see if there's money left. There is money left in that account for fixing up these little, these mop-up items, basically. The price of $1,282 plus electrical services to make it work, which Joe thought would be about $500-600 for that one. The sink in the survey shop was discussed because it was used for a lot of chemicals. It's in kind of rough shape. It's been repaired a few times, and it probably needs to be replaced, along with an eye wash station, which is not there right now. You know, this is something that's probably should be done, and I believe Mr. Dahl is probably going to be pushing on that himself if we don't have that. Another discussion we had is the electrical and the lights in the mezzanine area. They had taken, at somewhat point in time in history, they went from 8-foot fluorescent bulbs down to 4-foot, and they put the ends in there, and they're kind of held in with cardboard, which kind of doesn't, not quite right, and it's so Ellen will checking the cost of checking those and replacing those. The cost of retrofit is considered be about $2,200. And Wilczek went on to say that the exterior light poles and the old wall packs are old and not efficient, and price has been recovered to received by Job to retrofit those. And I think the payback was like with the 2.85 years, and that was not including rebates. So that's a pretty quick turnaround payback for replacing these, which is kind of nice. And it looked like the price to complete the project was about $11,000 in that neighborhood, and we have Mr. Wilczek going through with the payback and check into the rebates, and the recommendation was to move forward with the completion of the project the budget line allows. And I think Coordinator Kelly was going to give an update to what money remains into that account, which I think there's a significant amount of money left there, more than enough to cover this update pretty easy. The other item that we talked about was the Sheriff's Office training range. Chief Deputy Hoffman presented an overview of the CIP plan with build a training facility on the 80-acre Rasset Pit property that the county owns, and expand the gun range to allow more training of staff. Lieutenant Derringer talked about the design dollars budget were in the CIP for 2019. They had a drawing together and cost estimates. But the Derringer also stated that they've been contacted by the FBI to talk about a potential partnership out there, because it appears that the FBI is losing their lease for their current shooting range, and the timing couldn't work out better for Wright County. They're looking at putting into a significant amount of money to help with this. And after our meeting there, Mr. Walden said he'd go back and order the feasibility study for them, which that's just a formality and what they have to go through. What they'd be looking for is they'd like to do like a 20-year agreement if we can come to terms on this. With the other kind of I think it's a good fit for a partnership, because we could benefit from some FBI training out there also. They'd be coming to the table. There would be separate areas for the FBI office, our office, but there's still the training. Most of the stuff would be combined together. It's a great location out there for that. It's close enough to the metro for the FBI. They're interested in it. I think it's a win-win for everybody involved in this. And they talked about the elements that the FBI is going to require, but then that's subject to future discussion on how that gets to, because if the price exceeds the value for Wright County, you know, we got to question it. But I don't think that from our talks with Mr. Walden from the FBI, I don't think we're having that issue. I think they want just a place to do the training. The other discussion that they had out there is is possibly moving the EOC out to that location.
Now, EOC, what are you referring to?
Emergency Operations Center.
It's very cramped and stuff here, and it seems to be getting more and more people in there every time they have a drill, so.
The EOC, if anybody been in there during I made the mistake 5 years ago when I first got in here, when they had a drill. I walked in there. It's crowded, and they said it's been crowded for a while. I mean, my thing is, depends on the space study how it comes out. That's probably a proper place, because my thought process goes is, if the space study comes back and we can no longer stay here because of the limitations. And if we move the operations out by the LEC and where the courts are going, we will be within the 10 miles. So we'll have to do something anyway.
And the Rasset Pit will be
Outside the 10 mile, we're
Yes.
out there.
Good.
Plus then the facility can be built, instead of retrofitting like this one was they just carved out a place from the sheriff's department and slammed it in there. It can be planned out so we make sure it's going to meet the needs of now and the future. So it's just on the option, let's discuss
And
that too.
There could be some monies available that, from the XL thing. to
XL
do
and
something
nuclear,
like that, too.
those are things we're still yet to be debated, but I want to make sure that was in the thought process so we don't, if it's going to be a secure facility, and it might make sense to have that out there. I mean, I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget about something like that. It also free up space in the government center if it so chooses we stay here. It frees up space there. I mean, the next step in the process, we conduct the feasibility study, which the FBI is at their cost, and come back with their findings. The funds of the construction for range tower, classroom, gun, ammunition room. Numbers have been thrown around, anywhere from $1 million, $1.5 million. Don't know what the final number is going to be, what they're willing to put into this, but it appears that it's substantial because they have a need to do something fairly quickly. So from 2019, that might be a project that gets moved up to 2018. It depends on the feasibility comes back and if we can agree to some kind of joint powers or partnership agreement out there. It's one that it's worth investigating and trying. I did mention this to the Virgil and Steve from the Highway Department that this is potential. So their debris that they do from the roads where they're staging, they're going to have to move that to a different location, different part of that property. The beauty is it's still in the talk conversation here, and our recommendation was to move forward the FBI conducting the feasibility study at their cost and come back with us results in a more in-depth conversation. At some point in time, when it gets down to something more serious, it'll probably be a committee of the whole, so everybody's dialed in on this. I think that would be the proper way of doing that, if it comes to that point. But either way, Mr. Chair, this is a good thing to look into. Timing couldn't be better for us on this. And with that, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Potter, second by Commissioner Delighten. Further discussion?
Yes. Go ahead. Mr. Chair, thank you. Why didn't we look at the Public Works building for the retrofit LED for the outside wall packs when we did all the rest of them?
I think that got included in that, but I'm not sure if all of them did on the building or just the parking lot lights.
Because it kind of, the exterior pole lights and wall packs are also old and not efficient in pricing to be received. I'm just trying to figure out why we didn't do those at that same time. And we did the historical, the Health and Human Services building, this building, and we didn't do the new highway building because that was obviously new or being replaced or being built. Just curious on why we didn't do this.
Mr. Chair, I think I have that answer.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Former member of the building committee didn't think of it. Just being facetious on that, Commissioner Delighten. We had a lot on our plate at the time, and Alan Wilczek didn't come in until through the process with the new highway building and that really wasn't on the frontal lobe of issues there. We had quite a large checklist of things we wanted to do, and some of them we had to wait to see how the money panned out. But that one there kind of escaped the radar because we didn't even think about it, because we thought about here, the Health and Human Service building, the LEC and everything else. We thought everybody else we kind of overlooked that.
I thought we had talked about it, and I thought there was a reason why we didn't move forward with it. But I can't recall. I was just...
Yeah, but I think it had to do with...
Maybe it was we just forgot. Can't believe that, but...
It can happen.
Yeah, old age. Right, Charlie?
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. Okay. So, and further discussion? All in favor of the minutes and the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed, same sign, motion carries unanimous. Advisory Committee, Advisory Board updates. Mike, you want to start off again? You've been
No,
doing.
Mike always starts off. I'm gonna start off.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
I'm gonna.
You're gonna steal my thunder, that's why I was afraid of having you start.
Mr. Chair, I will defer and respect my elders on that one.
Go ahead, Commissioner Lyden.
No,
Well, no, you can talk about the Lake Ann thing. Assistant County Attorney Kreiser kind of mentioned it, but we had a study done, and ISG did a presentation last Wednesday out at Victor Township Hall, and well attended. How many people do you think that were there?
They counted, I think they got 58.
58, so it's, I mean, we were pulling out extra chairs, so.
That's impressive.
And
No, it was good.
the idea behind
Good
this is
presentation.
drainage and water quality working together and to
Serve
come
the
up.
farmers and to serve the lake
Yeah.
and to serve everybody with
So-
the improvement in
And
water quality.
they did do a lot of work so far, and there's a little bit more to go yet, so, anyway.
But yeah, it was a very good turnout, I thought.
But,
And my job being there, because, you know, it's not in my area, and I have all my county ditches all taken care of.
yeah,
In my district.
so you came down to help me out.
So I came down to help and babysit
Well,
you.
Mr. Chair, it's Commissioner Lyden's duty to help all other districts.
Yeah, since I've done such a good job with my county ditches.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Mark?
No.
Okay. Mike, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Great River Regional Library Board met last Tuesday evening. We had finance personnel and the regular board meeting. In the finance committee, we approved the budget, which had a 1.1% increase. And because Wright County has overtaken Stearns County in tax capacity, that changes that formula because it's based on tax capacity, population, and users. And so I think it was $67,000, if I'm correct. I turned over all the budget stuff to Coordinator Kelly already, so he can make sure he's got it in the budget. But I believe it was like $67,000 increase just on the one part there. But
Did you say we're larger now than Stearns?
in tax capacity, correct?
Oh, tax capacity, okay.
Not quite population yet. We got a ways to go there, but do we get?
Hard to believe although St. Cloud is split up into 3 counties, so.
So St. Cloud itself is not growing in the Stearns County side anymore. It's growing more on the Benton and Sherburne County side. But and I anticipate within a few years here overtaking them on registered borrowers too, because we're closing that gap really fast. So expect more, but that's the formula that was worked out before, and we all agreed to it. We do in the last couple of years, but it's called baseline budgeting, because that's what the smaller counties within that organization were insisting, because it was easier for them to understand how this was going. And so far it seems to be working. There's peace and harmony up there, I guess, as far as that goes. The other thing with the Personnel Committee, what we did is we had gone through a lot of job descriptions that had been, you got to update it for the actual function of the duty and job. And a lot of them were all the way back from the early 2000s. Before they hadn't been updated, so that was just house cleaning there. Another part we did is a reorganization of we had a retirement, and the drivers and the route people are now under the accounting, Aaron Murphy's duties now, because everything has to do with accounting there with that particular branch anyway, and it seemed to make sense, and that was the time when you had the major retirement. That's the time to check reorganization. It made sense. They will save what they anticipated $10,000 to $20,000 a year just in doing that. Aaron's points will go up a little bit. He'll get compensated for the extra duty, but the efficiencies within there make sense. So the other part, one of those things is just an evolving situation up there. The library, St. Cloud Library is open. Our insurance costs went up because of, risk, fire damage, everything else there. So a little bit more than we had anticipated. And new vehicles were replaced, so that, of course, the insurance on that is higher than old ones.
How many vehicles do they have?
I think it's 4 or 5 vehicles. Most of them are delivery, and a couple of them are for going the administration or whatever going to different branches. We've been on a more aggressive schedule on replacing our fleet. Some of them were 280,000 miles on it, and that's the cost of repairs. And this is why we put under administration with, under the accounting with Aaron Murphy. We're tracking the expenses to know when to get rid of them. Because before they've been holding on to too long, and all of a sudden you're putting in a transmission, you're putting a $4,000 transmission on a $3,000 vehicle. Why? We're not going to do that anymore. We approved the purchase of 2 more vehicles. We got the Ford Focus is gone, the Equinox is in, more space in another Ford Transit van to replace the old one, and that's basically what it was. The gist of the whole conversation is the reorganization within that one department, personnel updates, and then the budget, and that was the gist of the thing. So all in all, it looks good. We did have a few more service agreements done. We still have Howard Lake, Waverly to do in Wright County, and Buffalo was on its way. Supposedly it was approved. So those are the only 2 Howard Lake and Delaware are the 2 I have left in the county that haven't signed their agreement.
What about some of the other counties?
We are probably 2/3 of the way there to have them all done. Kimball was a unique situation because they're in a historical building, so they can't meet some of the things, and we had to make an exception for that one because they can't do certain things with that building. But the rest of them they don't meet as often, those cities. They meet, some of them meet once a month. And they had questions, of course, when it gets into an attorney's hands, next thing you know, they're changing the words around. It means exactly the same thing, but they want the words to be different. And we've had to explain that to quite a few different towns as it means the same thing. It isn't that the library board is trying to force you into changing the carpet every 2 years if they feel like the whim. We just want to have some agreement that's uniform, because some of these agreements go back earlier than the 90s, and they're all over the board. They're not the same. And I do want to apologize to the cities that have libraries there, because it rolled out a little bit fast. And in retrospect, when you're looking back, we might have been able to do a better job going and explaining the how and the why first before we launched this. And so that's a learning experience, I guess. And so we'll just move forward from here. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, and I have actually quite a few things.
And let me go ahead. Just one thing I wanted to mention was regarding the update and the MNLARS and the Minnesota License and Registration Systems. That was updated last week. Yesterday, they weren't able to do it. I stopped down there this morning, and they, excuse me, they ran 3 or 4 titles through already. So the system's up and working. Just a reminder to the residents that with the new system, it's going to take a little longer to do things at the counter, because the state shifted the work over to us on a lot of it. But the biggest advantage is that instead of waiting for 8 weeks to get a title, you should see it within about 8 days. So,
okay,
that will be beneficial to a lot of people.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, not a problem. So anyway, I just had some kind of really exciting news here. Our 2016, one of our 2016 Wright County Fairest of the Fair was down at Aquatennial participating this year, and she was chosen by the other contestants to be Miss Congeniality. So like 53 other contestants, and they chose a Wright County Fairest of the Fair to be Miss Congeniality, so that's quite an honor for her. Also, on the same subject of the fair starts tomorrow, and a lot of...
What fair?
The Wright County Fair in Howard Lake, Minnesota. So a lot of things going on. There's some new things. There's a exhibition will be going on Friday and Saturday, a mega jump bicycle thing where these guys will go up and do flips and landings and stuff. So they'll have 3 shows on Friday, and then Saturday, a couple shows on Saturday. The bull riding.
Will they be giving you lessons?
No, I will not be doing lessons.
No, that's,
They'll have the boat riding was new a year or two ago, and they're gonna have that back. It's getting more popular all the time. Of course, the demo, the live music every day, or a DJ, and then helicopter rides, that was started last year. They're gonna do that again this year. So, yeah, and I think we're gonna have really good weather again. I think tomorrow might be a little touch and go, but, it runs from tomorrow through Sunday, so hopefully I'll see you all out there.
and what time will you be on the bull? Are you scheduled for bull riding?
I don't think I'll do that one either. I'm not sure I would do that in my prime.
It's the whole talking.
Okay. Leah, is there anything else to come before the board?
Just to mention, I don't know that you got the name of the lady that was named first to the fair.
Oh, so you know what,
Sorry.
I should mention, it's Bree, and her last name is Yee, Y-E, and she's from Monticello, Minnesota, so thank you for reminding me of that. So congratulations, Bree, and best of luck to you. That's quite an honor, so, okay. With that, we are adjourned at 9:41.